Well, everybody, I wanted to come and talk to you today about privacy, I guess. I've had a lot of questions lately. A lot of folks saying, I don't want my kids to see this. I don't want them to know what's in my estate plan. I don't want them to know my business plan. And I always kind of want to know, really, why is that? I mean, do you think it's going to affect their behavior? I had one person jokingly tell me, "Well, I don't want them to know how much they'll get if I'm gone, so they'll keep me around a little while longer." And I really want to kind of examine this because it can really cause a lot of problems if you keep everything secret. If you don't talk to your family and let them know what you're doing, at least in rough details, then they don't really know sometimes what your intentions are. Let's just give you an example. Let's say that uh, you have younger children and you've kind of had a heated discussion with your spouse, or maybe not heated, maybe just a really serious one about who you want to take care of your children if something happened to you both. If you don't talk to anyone about it, I mean, it's unlikely anyway that you'll both pass. But if we don't talk to anyone about it at all and then we pass, people could be shocked. The person that you chose to be guardian of your children might say, "Hey, yeah, sure, I kind of expected this to happen." But there may be someone else in the family who says, I really know in my heart from talking to them that they want me to be that person. And then thoughts go places like, the only reason why I'm not that person is because the spouse or someone else twisted their arm and kind of put their will on it. That's not really what my loved one wanted. And that's what causes those will disputes. That's what causes those other fights within the family. The same thing can be said if you have a family business or something like that. If no one knows for sure who's going to be tapped to be the next lead, or they just assume that everyone's going to get a fair share or get the same exact share of it, then there could be problems later down the road. What if it's not what they thought? And they think to themselves, mom and dad went and got that estate plan set up. They were maybe they were in their 70s and made a final change to it, and I don't think that's what they really wanted. I think they were under pressure, and this isn't right. I'm gonna fight for this. The other thing could be, what if that person you chose to take on that business either isn't ready or isn't really willing to do it or something like that, or you've never had that discussion. Those things can cause problems. Really, for these plans to work, you should have those goals in mind. And when I ask you for your goals, a lot of times you'll say things like, I want my kids to be taken care of. I want them to be happy. I want them to be able to do things. It's about them. Make them a part of that discussion. You don't have to let them influence your decisions, but they at least should know what your will is a lot of times and what you want to happen and why you set things up. That way the family can deal with those now and have the harmony going, because the last thing you're going to want is surprises to come up when they're already dealing with the emotional side of a loss. The same thing could be said of key employees and things like that. They may expect it to go one way. They may have thought you said certain things. They could be hurt if that doesn't come out that way. You may have trusted these things to go on to your child and have them take through it, but if you haven't discussed it, you can end up losing that key employee, and it really can hurt relationships. Remember, this is about people first. So definitely do your put your wishes in there and things, but just remember, it really should be a discussion. The death happens to the family. Sure, it may be you that died and it happened to you the most, but it really happens to the family, and the family has to pick up the pieces and go forward with that. The business, the employees and the customers have to pick up and move that forward, and keeping them in mind and kind of keeping most of the things out in the open really will lead to better consequences. And I can just kind of encourage you to think about that before you keep things private. It's always better when we have them out in the open, when we discuss them, and then we implement them.